a moment I allowed my body to not be stuck in the fear-based sympathetic nervous system storm, but actually used it as a success strategy. So, that, my friends, is the magic of allowing your business to thrive with rest and play. Hello, good morning. Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome to the Business of Happiness podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Tarryn MacCarthy, and this is the podcast where you discover your happiness and enormous success that is available to you in medicine and dentistry. This is the podcast where you know and learn how to access you, how to put yourself back in the driver's seat of your life so that you can create the life of your dreams. And today is going to be a great day. Today is the day you learn that one of the most powerful success strategies in business and in life is incorporating rest and play. Oh, amazing. Just amazing. Just can we be here for a moment and realize that I just told you that in order to be more successful in your life, you have to start incorporating with intention true rest and true play. Both of those are important and key components of success. And I'm not just talking feeling better because, oh my God, that's the point, right? Trying to feel better. I mean, if I just for a moment tell you that it's possible to thrive, not just survive. Thriving incorporates that same concept of feeling it, actually feeling it. I don't want to just see the numbers in my bank account rise. I don't want to just see the number of patients coming into my office rise. I don't want to just see myself growing in external circumstances. We know that what matters is the inside, how I feel. So today we're talking about how we feel and why rest and play are so important to how we feel, how we be. But rest and play is also a key strategy in growth. Yeah, you don't have to give up on your big, beautiful, bold dreams. In fact, I really aspire to the fact that we need to have big goals and dreams. Big goals and dreams are what light us up, especially if you have the entrepreneurial spirit, especially if you love to learn, if you have a passion for learning. If one of your deep core values is learning and growth, well, then we've got to learn and grow. I'm not ever going to tell you as your coach, I'm never going to tell you to just settle for what you got. No, we've got to always learn and grow. That's the point. But learning and growing does not have to be stressful. In fact, there gets a point where you realize, oh my gosh, I've been pushing and forcing learning and growing my whole life, and I'm exhausted and I'm stressed out. And absolutely, I know that feeling. I have been there. I was the queen, the key card holder of the Push and Grow Success Club. I was. And, it's so interesting because having that mindset of needing to always push, having an extreme sense of accountability for your actions, discipline, gets you a really long way. It really does. I mean, just for a moment, look at everything you have achieved in your life and recognize that all that showing up on a daily basis, being persistent, even if you weren't feeling well, got you somewhere. But maybe you're at a point in your life right now where you realize, this just isn't satisfying or fulfilling. Maybe all that do, accomplishment, achievement was enormously successful in your life, but you may have gotten to a point where you're saying to yourself, is this all there is? Is this all there is? I know because I definitely had that feeling, not just once in my life, many, many, many times. And when you get that whisper, that's the moment to listen and recognize, oh, wait a minute. there's a way to do this at an even greater level. There's even greater success and abundance available to you, but it's going to take a new mindset. It's going to take a new perspective. And today we're talking about incorporating the maybe very uncomfortable for you technique of rest and play. And I'm not talking about rest and play when you're so exhausted you've got nothing else you can do, when you're so burned to the ground that rest is what your body is forcing you to do. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about proactive infusion of rest and play in your business strategy, in your life strategy. I'm saying showing up with that same amount of discipline that you have for your work, for your family, for your, and I'm doing this in air quotes if you're listening on the audio version of this podcast, showing up for your self-care, quote unquote, when you're forced to, when you got nothing left. I'm talking about doing so proactively in your life. All right. I want you to, just for a moment, and if you're not driving, close your eyes. And I want you to recall a time in your life when you had enormous creativity, when you felt this kind of excitement for life, maybe excitement for a project, maybe a download of a new creative venture. Maybe it wasn't even in business, although if you're an entrepreneur at heart like I am, maybe it was, where you had this brilliant idea or excitement about doing something. Maybe it was writing a book or launching a program or a new change in your office or a new restructuring of the organization in your business or a new avenue for growth or incorporating a new concept in your practice or a new opportunity for learning. Maybe it was taking a new class, learning a new technique or a new practice, or maybe it was some creative class that you're excited about, like taking a pottery class or dancing or horseback riding. But I want you to go to that moment of inception of that thought, of that idea that just fueled you and lit something inside of you that felt like being alive. Maybe it was a moment in time where you just felt enormous love. Deep love for your connection to the world or deep love for the people you serve. I want you to just go to that moment, that inception of a burst of creativity or a burst of love. Because I'd argue they're very similar and they're coming from a very similar vein, but that's another conversation for another podcast. But I want you to go to a moment and just hold that moment in your mind's eye. Where were you? Were you inside or outside? And you can answer out loud as you're listening to this podcast. Who were you with? Were you alone or were you with other people? In that moment, was it daytime or nighttime? Just picture all these aspects. Bring yourself right back into that moment. Feel the feelings you had. Allow yourself to feel that excitement, that enthusiasm for life, enthusiasm for your purpose in life, enthusiasm for your love of the world around you, enthusiasm and excitement for the next day, the next year, what this could mean, potential. Bring yourself back to that feeling. Hold it for a moment. Feel how good that feels. Allow your body to remember feeling alive, feeling excited, feeling enthusiastic. Just hold it. Oh my God, it feels so good. And when you are ready, just come back to me in this moment. I want you to remember and tell me or tell yourself out loud, where were you and what were you doing? And I want you to recognize the enormous role rest and play played in that moment to get you there, to that place. When you go back to that scene, I want you to recognize how you were in a place of allowing yourself rest and play. A magical cocktail, a truly magical cocktail in your body, in your emotions, in your neurochemical flooding of your brain in that moment was a moment of beautiful connection with yourself and incorporating rest and play. Now, why are those two key components so important? I'll tell you the moment I'm thinking of. If I were to go to a moment, I remember a moment on the top of a mountain in Slovenia. I was on Kirin Mountain, that was the name of the mountain, and I just remember looking out over this vast expanse. We had hiked for hours, and we were finally at the top of this mountain. And the beauty of the Julian Alps, the reverence for this amazing, beautiful space, untouched, pure nature, enormous, vast expanse of mountaintops, gorgeous. And I was standing on the precipice of this jutting out rock, and I felt like I was flying. I remember in the moment just putting my arms out, and if I could, I wish I'd had a journal there. I had a flood of ideas and excitement. I felt so alive. I felt so much love for the people in my life, even the ones who weren't with me in the moment. The only one who was there was Killian. But I just felt this connection and gratitude and awe. And man, the downloads started coming about my business and all the things I could do. See, what was happening in that moment was I was in pure state of energetic vibration of receiving that download. When I say receiving that download, hear me out. We have so much power within us. We have so much power within us. And that power is all around us. See, we're not just one. We're not just individual. We're actually connected energetically to the people around us, to the energy around us. We're actually receiving so much information from the people and places around us in those moments. We're opening up our minds and our hearts to new perspective. And in a very neurobiological sense, if we just go back to our anatomy, we're allowing ourselves to enter into our prefrontal cortex. See, this whole time, we think we're operating in our prefrontal cortex because we're in a very linear-minded place. We're in a very strategic place when it comes to business in our day-to-day. When we're treating patients, we think we're in that space. But often, very often, we're in a place of pure habituation, bypassing our prefrontal cortex. And if you're a doctor or dentist and you've been practicing for a while now, you know what I'm talking about. It's very similar to when you're driving home and maybe 20 minutes has gone by and you were not present in the moment. But you haven't gotten in a car crash. You've been obeying all the rules of the road. You've been following the right route home, but you weren't actually present. Have you ever had that moment where you just thought, oh my gosh, how did I even get here? I just pulled into the driveway and I can't recall the last 40 minutes of the drive, right? You just go into a complete habituated pattern of response. I mean, it's so incredible. For a moment, just let's realize that. Your body can do that. You can get so good at something, repeat a pattern so many times that you don't even need to be present in your mind. Your body just acts out what it needs to do to get you where you need to go. I mean, that's amazing. But how much of our day are we living in that way and spending our time and attention in a place of stress, overwhelm, emotional disconnection, avoidance, or running stories in our heads? I mean, have you ever been treating a patient and you're not even really there? The dentistry or the medicine is easy. I mean, I know you've heard yourself say this. After a few years in practice, the actual work that we do is easy. That's easy. You don't even need to be present for it. Although we can talk about that on another day, how to be present for it, because that's where the magic. Hey guys, I'm interrupting your podcast episode to let you know about an incredible new program that I'm launching in January of 2023. It is specifically for practitioners in medicine and dentistry to help you rediscover happiness and inner fulfillment within your profession and your life. I remember what it was like for me when years ago I was so depressed and anxious and feeling like I had created and built a treadmill I just couldn't get off of, pushing through every day and wishing my life away. This program is the how of how to find happiness in your practice and in your life. Because we know that when we feel good, that's when we can do good. Check out thebizofhappiness.com/radical happiness or click the link in the show notes. I cannot wait to see you there. But let's just go for a moment for the sake of this episode. You don't even need to be present when you're doing that DO composite. You don't even, you are kinda, just like you are kinda when you're driving. If a pedestrian said something, you could be present to the conversation. Or if a pedestrian walked in front of the car, you could respond. Same thing in somebody's mouth or a patient who you're treating, right? But we almost go into this like rote, dreamlike state. But if you go back to the mountaintop or that moment that you're remembering right now, where you had that supreme intuitive excitement, feeling like you're alive, like you were creating something, that was a moment you were fully present. And when you were fully present, you were in a place of parasympathetic nervous system, rest, every single time. Now, I'm not talking about not being excited. I don't mean rest in terms of do nothing, don't feel anything, just lie on a couch and receive. I mean active parasympathetic nervous system, incorporating it as a strategic way to get to that creative download. It's required. It's absolutely required. Even when you're with a patient, if you want to be in that space, you have to actively bring yourself into parasympathetic nervous system, because when we do, that's when we can access our forebrain. When you're in sympathetic nervous system storm, fight or flight, in a stress state, you are bypassing that brilliance, that creative downloading, that creative place in your mind that you can be actively in creation with new perspective, allowing for new neuronal connections, allowing for broader perspective to see a new business strategy, a new life strategy. You have to be in a place of calm. And the way we get to calm is by truly incorporating rest. And the way we get to excitement is by truly incorporating play. And I don't know what play looks like to you. Maybe play is climbing a mountain. For me, that feels like play. You know what happens in play? My 5-year-old comes out and she scrambles up rocks. I'm the hiker that doesn't like to hike with poles because I need to be on all fours. I need to be climbing up things, using my hands to grab a branch and pull myself up. I feel like a 5-year-old. I recently realized that, by the way. I'm that notorious hiker who doesn't like to have poles. And if I do, because I, sometimes need some support on my knees coming down a big mountain, they're in my backpack most of the time, because I love the childlike part of me that comes alive when I'm using my hands climbing. Maybe play for you is painting. Maybe play for you is actually playing, like playing a game, playing a board game, playing a sport that you love. But when we incorporate play, that's where we start infusing excitement. So that magical combination of rest and play is so important for success. So important, because we get out of that redundancy that we get so stuck in. And when we're in that redundant space, I'm sure you can recognize this with me. We start thinking we need help outside of ourselves. That's when we start hiring strategists and consultants and teach me more. What am I not doing right in my practice that it's not growing? What am I not doing right in my life that I can't see results in my body or results in my relationships or results with my team? And we start looking for resources outside of ourselves. I guarantee you know right now the big things you need to do in your life to get to the next level. You've read enough books, you've followed enough people on Instagram, and you have a million ideas in your head stored away somewhere of how you can get yourself to the next level. But accessing those ideas and finding the one that speaks uniquely to you, to your heart, to your specific business, because there is no one right way. If there was, we'd all be in the same place, and then we'd all be at the same place, and none of us would be crushing it because we'd all be at the same place. So there is no right one way. The question is accessing the part of you that can align with the part that really turns you on and gets you excited. Because if you're doing anything in your business and it's not exciting, I guarantee you right now, it's not going to be successful. It's just not. It's going to reach a certain level of success if you push and force and incorporate your incredibly well-harnessed discipline muscle. Absolutely. You will show up every day and you'll do the thing. But if you're not loving it, you're going to burn out. You're going to ditch it. You're going to not show up on the day you don't want to be there. And then you're going to start looking for, how can I recover my motivation? Where can I look for sources for motivation? And it's not motivation that you're missing. It's rest and play. That's it. It's allowing yourself to align with the strategy that turns you on, that gets you excited, that gives you that feeling that you had standing on top of that mountaintop, or whatever moment came to you when I asked you to remember that moment. It's getting to that place where now the ideas and the creativity and the downloads start to happen, where now you remember that book that you read, that idea that someone spoke about, that dream you had when you were 19. Now you access the parts that light you up. And recognize those strategies that happened in those moments where you had a thought, I'm going to do a gratitude month in my practice this month. I mean, that's a download that I had once, and I was like, oh my God, this feels great. We've been in a slump. I'm going to incorporate gratitude month, and we're going to use it everywhere. We're going to have the team members as part of this gratitude month. I'm going to send it out to all my referring dentists. We're going to start bringing gratitude up. We're going to have each of our team members write a handwritten note to someone they're grateful for or grateful to. And we had letters going to the UPS delivery man, going to the bus driver who dropped kids off for their appointments. I mean, it was such a fun month. I was loving it. I had a gratitude practice every day. I was talking about it on the podcast. That idea came from a moment inspired by rest and play. A moment I allowed my body to not be stuck in the fear-based sympathetic nervous system storm, but actually used it as a success strategy. So that, my friends, is the magic of allowing your business to thrive with rest and play. And I'm going to challenge you that it's important every day, every single day. And whoa, does that feel huge. Isn't that so interesting? Isn't it interesting that I tell you rest and play is important every day, and immediately your nervous system goes, oh no, I don't have time for that. What are you talking about? My business is too busy. Maybe she doesn't realize the life I lead. My life is so busy. I got kids. I got a business. I've got 2 jobs. There is no way I can incorporate rest and play every day. Just recognize your resistance in this moment. And give yourself some grace, because I was there too. And sometimes I still get there where I think, oh my God, I can't imagine carving out time in every day for rest and play. That, my friends, is your magic. I promise you. My businesses and my life took off every time I chose rest and play as a priority every day. And I don't mean rest on your cell phone looking at Instagram. That's not rest. True rest. I mean stepping out of your to-dos. And I don't mean how can I rest and play and get my steps in. How can I rest and play and be on the Peloton? I mean actively choosing to disconnect from everyone and everything and giving yourself a chance to rest and play. Now, if you're wondering, how is that even possible? How do I get my mind to even wrap my mind around that concept and allow that in my life? Well, then, my friends, you are very lucky that you're listening to this episode today, because today, Friday, May 19th, is the last day to register for Radical Happiness for Practitioners. And this is exactly one of the things that we tap into in Radical Happiness for Practitioners. We address the resistance that you're having to this concept. We address the neurobiology of why this is so important in success in your life and in business. We address the words and the thoughts going through your head. We address the belief system that's embedded in you, that subconscious belief that this is not possible for me, or I'm not worthy of this, or this is asinine and success and rest is not for successful people, or successful people can't possibly rest, or wealthy people can't possibly rest. And I promise you, after interviewing hundreds of people on the Business of Happiness podcast, this is a key component of the most successful people I have interviewed. Every single one, that is an imperative in their daily action. So let me just give you that security. But we address all of these things in Radical Happiness for Practitioners, and then how to actually incorporate it in your life. So today's the last day. I'm going to leave the link in the show notes again. But if you're listening to this and you want to come and sign up, it's www.radicalhappiness/ I apologize. Scratch that. www.thebizofhappiness.com/radical happiness. www.thebizofhappiness.com/radical happiness. That is how you get into this 12-week program. By the end of this summer 2023, your whole life will look different. I promise. I promise. Join us in the program. Today's the last day to register. I cannot wait. It is a spectacular program. It is only for doctors and dentists. It is absolutely the way to thrive. If you heard me say that I was done with just surviving, I wanted to thrive in this life, this is how. Join us there. And I want you just for a moment to imagine, just like we did at the beginning of the episode, and we thought about what that would look like, what that did look like, the moment that we imagined that download or had that beautiful moment of excitement and creativity and feeling alive. Now I want you to imagine feeling that every single day of your life. That, my friends, is living. That is the core component of the live more mindset that we talk about in Radical Happiness. Find me. Let's do it now. Stop second guessing yourself. Stop questioning yourself. Let's take action on this now. See you there. And remember, it's when you feel good, that's when you can do good. See you there.